What do I think about the Huawei debacle? Sips on a Samsung cup. I know, man. Certain companies have been very silent lately. For some reason, Jaime's hands appear big compared to his head. Jaime, please confirm whether your hands are larger than your head. Maybe? The stove is for Tim to cook on. Sick burn. Finally, 7+ minutes. 10 minutes would be great. Guys, seriously. I mean, last week's recap alone had so many comments that we wanted to make a comments video for the comments video. And then we were considering, I mean, wouldn't it be great if we actually address certain comments within the daily? Since we have so many, I feel that only 4 comments per daily on the recap is unfair. Let us know what you would think about that in the comments. But anyways, that's right, it's that time of the week. I am Jaime Rivera, this is Pocketnow. This is the Pocketnow Daily Recap, your comments for this week. So on Monday, the topic was, that certain interview that was conducted to Huawei CEO, and, when asked about a possible ban to Apple, he was like, no, I would be the first one to protest. I asked you, what did you think about Huawei from that perspective? I mean, do you think that the company's being too aggressive or too little? We had 901 comments. Huawei approach is admirable. I would highly recommend that you watch the weekly. We actually concluded that we have to admire Huawei CEO's reaction. I mean, he's being very humble, regardless of the fact that he does admit, I mean, the company's going through probably its worst times, but it's only making us stronger, which is, yeah, some people were like, yeah, this is just PR jargon. Guys, I don't know what to tell you. I feel that the response has been great. Ren is a true example of good leadership. True that. I mean, I've seen leaders like Steve Jobs. He pretty much picked up Apple when the company was at its worst time. He said that they were like 20 days from insolvency. And, he could have complained about everything and made this whole show about it. Instead, he was like, we've got to fix this, let's fix this, and let's just get it over with. That's the mentality that you need in companies like this. Huawei CEO acknowledges Apple provides great competition and keeps them from becoming stagnant. US companies could learn from this. Guys, seriously, I feel that one of the biggest deterrents in the United States is the stock market, because it's that whole mentality where we have to keep investors happy, and therefore we only focus on gains, on growth, and not necessarily in doing the right thing, creating the right products. It's all about the investors and not about the products for certain companies. Huawei should not change their strategy. Keep being polite for interviews and staying aggressive with their quality price product. True that, we just hope that that continues, particularly with everything that's happening. Then on Tuesday, we discussed the possible Huawei solution. I mean, there was the possibility of Arc OS with the trademark, and then we heard that TSMC was actually going to honor the orders they had for chips. So we pretty much could say that Huawei has their problem solved. I asked you what you thought about this. We had 956 comments. Arc OS with better privacy than Android would be ironic. Guys, you deserve those 140 comments, seriously. It's one of the things that upsets me the most, how we always say that, this whole espionage thing. That Amazon Echo is constantly listening to everything that I say, and I need to figure out how to cover that camera, by the way. Huawei should give app developers and customers a better deal than Google and Apple do with their app store. And the thing about it is, Huawei already has experience. I mean, they have an app store already created for China, so it's not like if the company doesn't know what to do. Truly that, I do hope that that would be the solution. I don't care what this software does, I just want something new, because I'm so tired of Android and iOS and their monopoly. That duopoly seriously has the market hindered, particularly with developers. I mean, developers have to pay a strong cut for their apps, and, it's not necessarily the best solution to create apps for Android. I mean, any developer would tell you that it's kind of a nightmare to do so, not so much a problem for iOS. And sure, I mean, I feel that the market needs something better, but you know what the problem is? That there has been something at some point, quote-unquote, better, which is what Windows Phone did, and developers just didn't care, which is the worst. Better RAM management and battery, please, with Arc. Oh my god, yes. And Huawei does have experience with this, with that operating system that they have for the Watch GT. That watch's battery life lasts forever, so they know what to do. I hope they could port it into a phone. Then, as a palate cleanser on Wednesday, we decided, let's stop talking about Huawei for a bit. Let's talk about the Galaxy Note 10. We had a ton of leaks and renders. I asked you what you thought about these. I mean, single punch hole or dual? We had 638 comments. Horizontal camera layout, please. Just place it higher to accommodate a bigger battery. No last year's iPhone-like layout, please. God, seriously. How many companies are going to follow that design? I'm seriously hoping that companies come up with something, I don't know, creative. Dare I say Huawei with that square design of the Mate 20 Pro. I mean, why not? I don't like the back design at all. The S10 Plus is simply perfect. Just add the S Pen, faster charger, and you're good to go. I don't know. It's not that I don't like the back design. I just find it to be very unoriginal. I'm not saying that it's ugly or that Samsung shouldn't do it. I've always loved the fact that Samsung goes for the center design, and I mean, why not do it here? No punch hole. Till then, no Samsung for me. Oh man, you know, I don't know which solution is better. I would rather the punch hole over a lot of the solutions that are out there right now. Horizontal camera is a better design choice as it won't wobble while on a table. True that for many companies, but you know, Samsung does a really good job at not coming up with the most horrible camera humps. So, in the case of Samsung, I actually would trust them more in placing that hump wherever they want, but yeah, we'll see. Then on Thursday, we talked about impossible things, particularly, you know, considering Apple's reality distortion field. There was a patent that considered the possibility of foldable glass, which to my understanding is impossible, for, you know, the next generation iPhone or iPad or whatever that may be. We had a ton of comments where people were like, yeah, you know, Gorilla Glass just came up, Corning just came up with this like folding glass. Guys, glass doesn't bend unless you heat it up and then it breaks. We had 685 comments. Apple is making foldable products as the iPhone 6 Plus. 283 likes, man, true that. Apple won't use glass. It's physically impossible, but they'll call it glass anyways. Just like they called sapphire to the camera protective glass, which is not sapphire at all. It's got sapphire components, but yeah, you've got a point there, buddy. This is going to be a graphene screen that is easy, foldable, pretty much unbreakable. Vibranium or graphene, like, we still haven't been able to make batteries out of that. Foldable Apple device, no thanks. I'm sure it'll cost $10,000 for the base variant. $11,000, I'd say. And then finally, Friday, things got really loaded with Huawei again, starting with the possible China blacklist, and I know there's already one, but apparently they want to extend it, and now they don't want to trade their minerals, and they don't want to allow certain companies to come to China. Yeah, crazy. And then we were hearing about Huawei starting its own research center for 5G in Korea, even if they just lost the Japanese 5G business with SoftBank. And then we've got the plea that it's unconstitutional, everything that's happening to them in the United States. Everything was crazy on Friday. We had nearly 900 comments. The Huawei stories are way more interesting than the last season of Game of Thrones. Dude, 600 likes, and I have to agree with you, man. What happened to the last season? Everything was going great, and it's not like if people wanted it to end, but yeah, I know I'm going off topic. I agree that this is a loss issue, but I hope that US companies stand together and stop this executive order. It's called an executive order for a reason. It's not that easy. I don't know what's gonna happen, dude, but I do hope. I mean, because like it's funny, but I think the company is losing the most is Google. It's funny how Google and Android are going to lose so much if this continues. Unfortunately, the trade war is causing more harm than good. I don't see how this can benefit any side other than probably force innovation, but even that takes time. You know, the biggest problem with this is when you create a system focused on trade. I mean, the United States was fine before this. They created this trade system in the 90s, and a lot of companies just decided, okay, fine, we're going to start building stuff in China and in Mexico, and creating those infrastructures took years. I was part of that. I worked for a US company in my home country, and that's just the way it was. And you know, a lot of these economies depend on this trade design, and just out of the blue, now you want to create tariffs. And it's hilarious because a lot of the products that are going to be affected by these tariffs are US products, because these are the ones that are being manufactured overseas. It's not just you know, Chinese products coming to the United States. No, dude. I mean, what about everything that's being built there, which is not their fault? They just follow the trade agreement that was created by the United States. The United States. An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. No one is going to benefit from this. It's a bad chain reaction. Definitely, the biggest problem with this whole issue is that there's no way that anybody's going to win out of this. The United States might get some tax money from the tariffs, but how is this going to benefit U.S. companies? Surely, I do have to say that in the case of the eye for an eye, you have a point. China was blocking U.S. companies from making business in China for the longest time, Facebook, Google. So truly, this is not necessarily the United States' fault. This is actually something started by China many years ago. So, I'm not saying that one solution is good or the other. It's funny how I read some comments and everybody was like, yeah, these guys are just Huawei defenders. We're not, dude. It's just, you have no idea. This is not about who's right or who's wrong. It's about the fact that countries are so entwined. They're so I don't know how can I say this. Economies depend so much on trade today that you can't just back up now. It's too late for that. That's just me. Yeah, we'll see how that ends up. That's it for the Pocketnow Daily Recap. Thank you so much for watching. Guys, thank you so much for your comments and your discussions. They make our community better. Just remember, if you want your comments to be featured, keep them short, stick to the point, and try to get some thumbs up. It helps us spot them a lot easier. You can also follow us on social media. Subscribe to both our channels, English and Spanish. For more videos like this one, you can follow me on my handles as well if you want to see some crazy running photos. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.